Welcome everybody. Thanks for coming back to work. Even though it's December and everyone's kind of distracted, but this is a perfect time for talks about money, probably on everybody's mind. Thank you, Dorina, for coming and bringing this talk to us. I'll just let you go ahead and do your own little intro.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
So I'm Dr. Dorina Rode. I have a PhD in physiology, which is how the body works, and so physical plane reality, and then a degree in behavioral health counseling, which is how the mind works a little bit, and over 20 years experience helping people get unstuck using alternative medicine modalities. And more recently, the last 10 years have been focused on how to access the subconscious and change it. And I've developed a process I call the Change Anything Now process, and we're going to get to experience that today. So in terms of money, I should show my credentials with that as well. So I retired when I was 30 using kind of techniques for conscious belief changes. But it wasn't until more recently that I moved into more affluence, I guess, more money flow. That was like retired was great, but not a lot of money flow. And I think in the last month I've made $200,000. So like I'm always kind of surprised. I've always been surprised with money because I come from like a poverty mentality kind of background, depression family kind of thing. So it's like to be able to change those subconscious blocks has been really powerful for me. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk a little bit about what you can expect when you access the subconscious and change things, to give you an idea, and then go over what this Change Anything Now process is. And then we'll get time for one or maybe two people to actually be facilitated, and the whole group can benefit. So as we're going around, if you think of something where like you're stuck or something you would like to work on in particular, you can jot it down because we might have a chance to like talk about those. And I would like to do introductions, but I'm going to do them kind of midway after you get a feel, because I'm going to ask you, what would you like to get out of today, if you could get anything, that sort of question. So we are being video recorded, I'll say that again for people who came in late. And if you don't want to be, you can just move to the outside. So, any questions? Okay, so my story with belief changing began when I was in my 30s. So I have my real story is that I had decades of depression and anxiety that was unexplained to me, and I just figured this is how it is. My brother's bipolar, my whole family is full of addiction issues, and this is just my genetic whatever. So I never thought I could actually change any of that back then. But in the process of doing that, I did 12 steps, and there was all this inventory stuff and really looking at life. And so I really started getting fascinated with beliefs and this idea that, we can change beliefs, and beliefs kind of create things for us. And at some point when I was 30, I ran into this belief that if you do what you love, the money will follow. And I looked at that belief and I said, there's no way that could be true, right? Just do what you love. And I didn't read the book because I think there's a book. I just saw the title, right? It's like, do what you love. That's enough. Do what you, why do you need a book, right? Do what you love and the money will follow. That is not possible. I had a whole list of beliefs, and maybe you can relate to them. I have to work for money. I have to compromise for money. I have to do whatever it takes to get money. I have to save. I started my IRA when I was 19. When you start saving for retirement at 19, it's like, I was scared, and I knew you had to have this thing, and you had to do whatever it took, and it was, it was going to be hard to get enough of it, and there was competition, there wasn't enough jobs, everything was saturated, that sort of thing. Those were all my beliefs, and I get this new idea that if I do what I love, my money will follow, and I said, okay, I'm going to test it. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to test that belief. So I would wake up in the morning and I'd like, what do you want to do? And in the process, there's a whole story on that. My podcast, you can actually listen to it. So there's two ways of getting that story, right? It's the chapter, I have a book here, Developing Awareness. So it's one of the chapters, how I use conscious methods to change my belief and actually retire. And for me, retirement meant I no longer did anything I didn't want to do. And, decades went by and I was like surprised because I figured I'd end up homeless, right? And I figured at 30 I'd be, I could recoup once I realized that belief didn't work. But it worked. And I got what I wanted, which was peace. That was what I was going at. I wasn't looking to be affluent. I was looking to be peaceful, and I got that day in and day out for a long time. And there was always enough money. I've never done debt. Probably one of my beliefs. I'm not able to do debt. We don't do debt in my family except for mortgages. But I also, it's one of the episodes on my podcast, which I learned how to do here at work, one of these meetings. I was like, oh, podcast, sure, I can do that. So episode 2 is how to retire early. And there's a few other episodes on money, so I cover different things. You can also go to my website, and I think that's listed here on the podcast too, and just get the download of the transcript of that story. There's a story that I give if you give me your email, one of those things. So I don't want to go into conscious changing beliefs, because that's possible, but that's not really interesting to me, because a lot of times we consciously try to change things. It's like we know we're enough, or we know that, maybe we know there should be more money flow, but it's stuck. We're stuck. There's something that's holding it in place, and that's the subconscious stuff. That's what I realized when I was in my late 40s. After decades of depression, I discovered something in my subconscious that was creating all that. And after 3 years of uncovering repressed memories from my childhood, of severe childhood abuse, my depression and anxiety went away. So I'm like, oh, and that just hit me. If something like that I'm not even aware of could completely control my life, what else is out there controlling my life? And what's everybody's subconscious controlling theirs? That we don't even know, that we've accepted, that we've adapted to. We're used to that, so we're going to be anxious because of this, so we just adjust to it instead of really believing we can get rid of it. And so that's kind of my passion, is getting into the subconscious to get rid of those beliefs that limit us. And the first myth that I want to talk about is this myth that we only use 10% of our mind. I don't know, it's out there, you hear it, we only use 10% of our mental capacity. We use 100% of our mental capacity at all times, and that's what's creating our world. And the bad news is that 90% of that is subconscious, and we don't really have access to by normal means. We can do affirmations, we can do positive thinking, but it's all thinking, right? It's all 10% of the mind that's conscious. And some of that seeps down into the subconscious and can change things, but it's really slow, or at least it's been that way for me. Occasionally some things, will just shift dramatically, but oftentimes it's a slow process to use conscious methods to get into the subconscious. So we're using it all, and I want to give an example, and the fact that it controls our world, because we can hear that. It's like, you hear things like we're all one, stuff like that. It's like, but what does that mean, real? We don't act like we're all one, because we're all separate too. But there's this idea that we have to use external means to change the outside world. And there's one woman I worked with, we'll call her Barb. Barb came to me, and she was a teacher, a professor at a university. She taught elementary school teachers, or people that were going to be elementary school teachers. So she had a cohort that was with her for 2 years. And she taught different kinds of things, and she taught the same students for 2 years. And this cohort hated her. She's like, they hate me. Like, I come in and they snicker in the back. I don't know what they push back. So when she gives an assignment or something, they're pushing back. They're not respecting her. They're complaining about her around the campus, that sort of thing. So she had this cohort that was horrible. So we did some change facilitation. I looked at, basic one. I'm a good teacher. And I use energy testing to find out what's actually going on in the subconscious. So we used energy testing, and we'll do that here in a moment. And we found that she consciously, she knew she was a great teacher. Subconsciously, she thought, I'm not a good teacher. So we changed that. And we changed a few other things, right? And so she goes back to work, and it's I tell the story because it's the most dramatic one, right? Where everybody had changed. Her students were complimenting her. There was no more pushback. There was no more snickering. They were telling other professors they were her favorite. Maybe it wasn't the same. I don't know. Where did the old students go, right? So it was a completely different environment, and we didn't change the external world. We didn't get to each student and talk to them about how they should respect their teacher. We changed her subconscious, and the external world changed. And that's a nice example of what's possible in terms of working with the subconscious. And for myself personally and people I work with, it's dramatic changes like that. When you pull a belief, and that's what I call it, pulling a belief. If when you're focused on something not true, you can have a lot of emotional responses, and those are the most dramatic. If someone comes in and they're grieving, and I change a belief around that, or they're crying, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, what just happened? No longer sad. Like, poof, instantly. So resolve can be, because it's all based on stuff that's not true, and when we change that, things change really rapidly. I'm always faster than my schedule. We'll have more time to facilitate.
That's good.
I know. I'm like, wait, that should take, anyway. So what I want to talk about now is the change anything now process. Let's see, do I want to, so energy testing, or let's do the introduction kind of thing next. So I'd like to find out, just introduce who you are. I'm Dorina. I'm, whatever, if you've got a title or something like that you'd like to share about yourself. And then let me know, if you could change anything, what that would be, or what you're here for, however you want to say it. Would you like to?
Oh, thanks.
That's what you get for being so attentive.
My name's Melissa, and we moved here 8 years ago. I lived in the town, Pacifica, for 25 years, and ran the visitor center and did all these kind of things, and was a resource person, and just did a lot of community kind of things. And we moved up here, and it's like, I sort of got stuck. I went to a place about jobs for a friend of my son's, and this lady said, "Oh, you'll never get a job. You're too experienced." And she said, "Nobody will want to pay you what you're worth." And so I went home and made dog biscuits and wrote big stories, and I haven't made any money on it. And I got this block, and it's like, okay, I'm going to try to do this other thing. I want to go and work for a cruise ship company, Expedia, and I love cruising. I've traveled a lot. I went to travel writer school, and I want to tell you where to go and have a good time, And I have something to share. But it's like, the office is a mess, and I can't get to my desk. So therefore, I have this folder, and I know it's there, and it's just one of those start things and get it going so that I can get on and fulfill my destiny.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Ooh, lots of stuff there. Uh-oh. There goes all my time. No, that's good. It's like I get on, I start thinking about it. And Edgar, go ahead.
My name's Edgar. I'm a maker. I have about 53 years in jewelry making, welding, carpentry, stuff like that, and a sculptor. And that's really who I am nowadays. That's kind of where I go. I say, well, I weld, but I'm really a sculptor. And my dilemma is that I'm toast on welding and fabricating, particularly for other people, which is what I do. So I have a great studio. I'm going to start retailing, which will be different after many, many years. And I want to teach, and I don't mind doing some fabricating, but mostly I want to do it for myself, or I don't know, people, nice projects. And the money thing is, the money thing's off the chart. It's just totally nuts. I've been struggling with it all my life. I don't know where it comes from. I'll make it really quick. I grew up in Hungary during the war. I was born during the war. My family had little money before the war took all that away. Communism stuff. Money just brings me to my knees. It just makes me want to scream. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good at what I do. So I deserve more. I don't have a problem with that, but how to get it? I have to struggle for every dollar, one real quick thing. I sort of did a guy a favor. He's done me a favor, and I pulled him out of a bind the other day, and I spent an hour and a half drilling huge holes in big heavy piece of steel, and I'm struggling with billing him.
Right.
I'm thinking, this guy owns 5 restaurants. Why am I struggling with this? Anyway, that's it.
What's it worth?
What's it worth to him? What's it worth to him?
Yeah. Right.
Well, to him it was worth a lot because he was able to open, his restaurant. And
All right. Conscious belief changers.
My name is Sherry. I'm an educator and a student, and I'm not really having any money struggles, but but I bake. I like to bake. It's a hobby, and sometimes people ask me if they can buy what I bake, and I never know what to say, how much I should charge. That's why I was laughing at you, because she was standing behind someone saying, "Tell her it's $15."
Yeah, right.
Anyway, that's it.
Okay.
Nick, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm CEO for the first time. I really don't have much in the way of money issues. I never really have done. What's different, I've been in startups before, what's different this time is I'm the CEO. So I'm ultimately responsible, and I'm just starting the phase of the company of fundraising and building partnerships. And so it's like, being the guy in the hot seat, is that going to change here? Is that going to cause an issue?
Is
So, I don't think so.
it? Is there anything that comes up? That makes it, I'm responsible. Maybe that's.
Yes,
loaded.
it's less to do with the money, it's more to do with everything's landing on me if something goes wrong.
Mhm.
It's not really about the money side of it, it's about the whole project kind of thing. It's
Okay,
all
yeah.
on my lap.
Hi, my name is Elton Takeda, and I'm an entrepreneur myself, but I really have a problem with attracting money. I seem to just deflect it.
Deflected.
Or
By-
repel it.
Oh, look at it that way, right? If I throw a
Yeah,
bar
it
of gold
seems-
at you, it's gonna like hit Nick.
Yeah.
He's happy about it.
Depends how big.
But I also just seem to repel people. Whatever that is. Just have a kind of a low self-esteem sometimes.
Appeal. Repel. We'll work on the spelling later. Okay.
Okay, hi, I'm Linda. I'm an editor and a writer with decades of experience. So I don't know why I have a problem asking for a rate that I think I'm worth, but I have a problem with it.
Okay.
And oftentimes, it's a very competitive field, even though I have all kinds of experience. And sometimes the people who really succeed, and I'm thinking of two particular people whose names I'm not going to say, have these personalities that I wish I had. They're just out there, forceful, and I'm not like that. So I'm not sure how I can change myself to
Mm-hmm.
maybe get like that, or, you know. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
kind of like the same. It's like I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's sort of the same.
We want to be more attractive. We want to be like money magnets or client magnets.
Yeah.
Gotta get that one in. Okay.
My name is Nancy, and I would say I identify with a lot of up there. Probably not, I don't think I repel people, although I probably have in some instances where I was really stuck, focused on a problem that I was having, and I think people got tired of listening to me. Maybe some of you.
I'm surprised I have any friends at all through the first 20 years of my life.
So I think the biggest challenge two challenges that I'm dealing with now are definitely around having a sense of stability around money and moving forward into my 50s, and a lot of anxiety around home because I don't own a home. And then the second kind of aspect of this is that I'm a mom, and I've passed on some of my money anxiety to my kids, and so I feel somewhat responsible for when I see what their anxiety reflected back to me. I would like to help them see that I'm trying to change, and then maybe give them some foundation to change some of their anxiety around money too.
It's interesting with kids because the truth is you can be whoever you are and they're going to choose or pick whatever they want. Because if you tell a kid you're worthless, you'll never amount to anything, one kid's going to totally ignore you. Another kid's going to overachieve because they're going to prove that you're wrong. The other kid's going to believe you and become worthless and underachieve.
Right.
You know, so it's like there's that kind of thing. That's consciously, but yeah, it's the, you know, back to I'm responsible. Maybe just having that sense that. But yeah, you're definitely right. When we change who we are, the external world changes. They're like, oh, okay. We don't have to be anxious about our money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I might be saying things, but my actions are actually demonstrating difference. So.
Well, and we all pick up on everybody's energy too. So if I hang out with somebody who's got fear around money, then I'm going to be more fearful. Like I can talk to people and I believe you. Oh my God, there is no hope. You know, it's like, oh, where'd that come from? You know, so because I can get in that whole energy of it, and that's where, you know, that's where we're going to try to undercut it. Because the truth is, you can't deal with it from the from the conscious mind because it's in there too deep.
I'm Christine. I guess I have post-traumatic stress disorder from the recession. And we had a really healthy business for, over 10 years, employees, and for several years, probably around 7, which when kids were young, and trying to really feeling like we were keeping the lights on and barely making payroll for years and years, and every month wondering, should we just sell our house, or just wanted to crawl under, a pillow and just stay there. And the last couple of years have been really good, back to kind of healthy, and probably even healthier than, as far as our business, what we do. But I can't seem to get over that, the fear of it happening
So is it
again.
like being insecure, or what would it be?
Yeah, like I wasn't secure. I was fine before the recession.
I'm going to lose everything? Is that?
Or just, I just want to like hoard.
Yeah.
There's kind of like, I'm going to lose
I'm almost
everything.
afraid to pay a bill because I feel like I have to hold on to the cash. So I'd rather like be in debt and pay like high interest than not have the cash in the bank. And I was never like that before.
It's one of those words again. Is it 2 O's or 1 O?
Linda will help you. She should come up here and lead us.
I like repealing people.
No A.
No A.
No A.
You're saying repeal.
I know.
Yeah.
This is
Hell.
hell.
That's it?
Yes.
No more letters anyway?
I know that I hate writing in public because there's no spell check.
Yeah, I'm an author of 4 books, right? Word is my best friend.
My name's Paul. I'm in the design industry for interior architecture. And, I'm really interested in how to save more these days. I just turned 40, and it was like, okay, it's time to get real. Yeah.
Don't you wish you had started at 19?
I know.
No, all that's gone.
That's what I want to teach you.
All that's gone.
No.
I was so happy when I cashed out that IRA and paid all that 10% penalty and put money in IRA again.
So I'm kind of obsessed with saving for the first time ever, and just interested in ways to kind of cultivate more of that.
We're going to get rid of that here. You're in the wrong place. That recession, actually the stock market crash before that is when I realized that if you save, it doesn't mean you're going to have money in the future. So I'm like, how am I going to guarantee? I want to know, how am I going to guarantee I have money in the future? Well, do what you love and the money will follow. And then the other thing is give money away. I started giving more money away. That's why, I don't know if you were here when I said I made $200,000 this month.
I missed that.
You missed the $200,000 I made this month because I gave money, a lot of money away. That was my strategy. The less money I had, the more money I started, little bits, not to break the bank or anything, but this flow thing. Because I started to look cause and effect. Because I learned that saving money does not mean that you'll have money when you retire. Because my IRA went up and then it went all the way down, and then I'm like, and then they wouldn't let me buy a house with it. And, and the house I had sold I put into stocks when I went to school to get the PhD. And then it's like, there's nothing left. It's like, that was stupid. I've been, like, why would I not spend money? Because there's no guarantee unless you already have this belief I'm financially secure, and then you're a money magnet. So that's what we're talking about here. I mean, yeah, I can't
So
give you
you're talking about more about mind state?
mind, yeah. Well, I'm talking about changing the beliefs that are going to create deficit, right? If you if you have any of these, and these, I mean, they sound like, if you really believe you're not good enough, and a lot of us can try to tell ourselves we're fine, we're good, we've got enough, we can charge as much as we want, but we don't really believe it because it's somewhere in the 90%. And so what I do is I look at how do I get that belief changed. And when you change that belief, this is the part that I don't really believe on some level, but I see it time and time again. When you change that belief, everything changes. And for me, my big thing was receiving. I needed to be able to receive more, so I looked at why am I not receiving as much? Because I thought I had to do it myself. I had to be more independent. There's all those kind of beliefs. And as soon as I switched to receiving more, I got a relationship, I got money. It's like, I was living in Arizona. That recession happened. I was in Arizona, right, where you can buy a house for $16,000.
Mm-hmm.
Or right now you can buy a piece of land for $300. It's like an acre of land. But that's Arizona. Who wants to live there, right? So I'm living there. I'm looking at the Bay Area, and I'm saying, I'm never going to get back. There's no way I could get back to the Bay Area because it costs, you guys know it, $200,000 last month is nothing. That doesn't buy me anything in Sonoma County. I could buy a whole block out in Arizona, but you know what I mean? But this is the better weather, nicer people, everything like that. So it was really about, I don't know what happened. See, that's the thing is I can't give you techniques. I can give you techniques. I can't give you, like an investment person will say, invest here and do this and that. I can tell you exactly how the money showed up, but you're not going to follow that. But what I really did was I changed my beliefs and I followed the energy. That's the thing. And I became, especially when I first retired, I was really rigorous about following that energy of what I wanted to create. See, a lot of people will tell you, okay, make a list of like, I want 100 new customers today, or I want this, and I want that, you make this thing, and then you kind of focus on that, and you visualize it. And I'm like, what if that's too small? What if that's not really, what if that's limiting you even? So, and if this stuff, you gotta get the foundation cleaned up first. You need to feel like, okay, I'm enough. And you can't just say it because an affirmation that doesn't quite go down deep enough. And so you look at what's blocking. That's like so common, that one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, our parents put that in or something, like glued it in or something. It's like, and it's not even our parents' fault because somehow we were willing to believe that or choose that. So.
Okay. I just have one little PS. I have to leave it. This goes till 1:30.
Goes to 1.
Oh, till 1. Oh.
Yep.
Promptly, because everybody's leaving, as far as I know.
No, we keep the room reserved until
Got it.
1:30
Okay.
so people
I
can
didn't want to
hang out.
offend
Yeah.
you leaving early.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm Natasha. I'm the owner of Work. I was part of I was a child of the Back to the Land movement, so I have really kind of unusual, I guess, upbringing around money, that my parents kind of rejected money and did everything themselves. Let's build our own house and create our own water and all that stuff. So
Water.
And now they're like, in their 70s, and they're like, oh, this is a really hard life. I don't think I can keep up with this anymore. I want to pay somebody. So I really resonate with the part of, I feel like money is something you have to earn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really glad you said anything about the flow because I feel much more comfortable when there's a flow, like I'm not a hoarder. At all, but my husband always has a lot of anxiety around money, and he always feels like we're broke even when we're not at all. And I even our financial advisor laughs at him sometimes, like, "What are you talking about?" But he has a lot of anxiety. So then I think, well, maybe I should be worried too. And then looking at my parents trying to retire and not really having thought ahead, I think, oh well, maybe we should have been hoarding more money.
That's a fear of mine too.
Yeah.
My parents.
Yeah. So.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
That making money is a game that I don't know how to play. Like you were talking about IRAs and savings and stocks, and it's like, I just can't, I do the reading and I hire the people, and it never seems to work, and it just seems like it's people playing games out there.
It is, it's not real.
And I don't want to be part of the game, and I don't know how to play it.
Yeah.
And every time I think I got it, somebody moves and changes the
piece.
rules.
Well, I think
Changes
that's
the
part of
rules.
Matt's anxiety too, is he doesn't, like you said, he doesn't trust that like our 401k money is actually
'Cause
gonna
we
mean
know it's
anything.
not
There's no social
based on-
security
it's-
money that's really gonna mean anything. So
Yeah.
how do you know?
You don't. That's the millionaire mindset, right? I was just talking to someone. I did a podcast with someone. I did facilitation on the air, and she was like, she goes, I got this book, The Millionaire Mindset, right? And it tells you you're not going to be secure. That's the millionaire mindset. It's like you're on the wave and you're just looking for the next one to jump on or something. I don't know. But what if you don't have to work for money? What if you just play, and what if you just focus on what you love or the energy of what you love, and the money just flows in? So that's the thing that's like really hard to trust, and that's really what
The
you have to trust.
is really hard. So
I made a
when we
choice,
was
so
here
it's a
at the climate
choice.
talk,
What?
do you remember that woman offered me $5,000?
Yes.
And what was your initial? My initial reaction was like, I don't want your, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
I got it
Really?
because I stopped myself and I was like, well, wait a second, why not
Yeah.
take that money? Because I'm trying to do stuff around climate change. Like,
Yeah.
why am I always rejecting people trying to
Wanna
give you
give you
stuff?
money.
Yeah. See, look at. I mean,
It
Wow.
seems, it doesn't seem, it's like too good to be true. There must be something
Yeah.
wrong.
There is a mindset that if you're doing something good,
Yeah.
you shouldn't
Can't
get
pay
paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, come on,
Yeah.
guys. There is that real mindset. Oh, it
Or if you're
doesn't.
doing something you love, you shouldn't
Yeah.
get paid for it. Like baking, right? It's like I love it. I'm gonna do it anyway. Why should I ask for money?
Yeah.
Like money is for the things you to make it worthwhile to do the things you don't want to do at all.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay, so let's get into the process. So to access the subconscious and to check to make sure it's changed, I do energy testing. And with a group, you can do muscle testing like with fingers. So the way it works with fingers is basically, actually this is the way I do it with fingers if I'm doing it on myself, is that when you say something that's true, that your body and mind believe is true, your muscles hold firm. And if you say something that's false, they weaken for a second. If you disturb the energy of the body, see, I'm a martial artist, an internal martial artist. We know that if you cross the center line of the body for a second, the person weakens. If you can get it, you don't even have to touch them. If you cross in front of their body, they'll weaken, and then the next blow you kill them. Right? There's certain points you can hit that.
Whoa, I thought this was a class about asking for money, not killing people.
Only the
We
successful
need to
people
kill
will
people.
survive this course.
So the basic idea is that if you disrupt the energy in the body, it weakens. And so that's what you do when you say a lie. And since it's 100% that we're talking to, if you're saying a lie to that 90% that's subconscious, your muscles will go weak. Now there's also, and I'm not sure how this exactly works because it's kind of like muscles and kind of not, is that when I'm doing a group, we do like pendulums. So I'm going to have everybody stand up and we're going to face what I think is north.
No, that's more north.
We're going to, sure.
North enough.
Yeah.
North enough. So the body, so if you kind of get settled in your body, and if you say something that's true, your body will move forward. And if you say something that's false, your body's going to move back. Some people it's very subtle, and other people are like falling over. So it just depends on who you are. So I'm going to have you just kind of relax into your stance and close your eyes, and then just say yes and see which way you move.
Yes.
Yes.
And then say no and see which way you go.
No.
So if you're completely opposite, just turn around. So some people are, there's things to do to correct the thing. So if you're dehydrated, it doesn't often, kind of
I
work.
mean, if you're opposite.
Well, if you went yes backwards and no forwards, then you're just twisted. So you can do it. I just have people,
Oh.
You're just facing the wrong direction.
I'm facing the wrong direction too. I'm off today, so I'm whatever. I went the opposite ways, but
I went the opposite way.
Say well, actually a lot of people don't come up through with their name. Say you're male and see which way that goes,
Male.
and then say you're female.
Female.
I can see you guys.
I can feel it.
I can see you guys moving.
Okay, let's try. I have to struggle for every dollar.
Struggle for every dollar.
You got a yes?
Yeah.
Okay, would you like to change that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna change it. This is the magic part. I was on the radio with women. She's like, you do magic. It's like, yeah, I do. So would anybody have that belief, or even if you're not testing right, we can pull it for you. Just tell me just say yes when I say, would you like to change that? Which will be the title of my next story. Okay. Okay, let me test it again. I have to struggle for every dollar.
I have to struggle for every dollar.
Changed. So oftentimes it's as simple as that. You've been working on this for decades. I mean, a lot of people, they come in after years of therapy and they're still not good enough. I can change it in a second, right? Because they've already done all the work. And they've already processed it. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of like stuck in there or something. So I do like some sort of magic, and I teach how to do this so you can do it on yourself in a weekend, which is kind of fun.
So I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
So consciously I felt like I would be on a yes for the first one, but I actually moved backward. So
Not
what
yours. It might be something different. It might be slightly, I have to.
So what is it? Like I'm consciously thinking that, but unconsciously like it's not there? I mean, I'm kind of confused.
And you're testing okay with the other things?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just, that's not yours. But it could be, let's try, I have to earn money. I think you had that one, right? So
I missed the change part. What was happening when we all were silent? I was a little confused.
I was doing magic.
You're just like emanating something?
Now, so what I do is, what I do is I go into a certain brainwave state, and it's a certain, it's like, I call it accessing ground. It's not that hard, but the thing, like hypnosis kind of people probably can do it too. And so I go into that state, and I literally say, get rid of this. And then I witness. Witnessing is the important part. So I witness in however I witness things to see if it's gone. Which I don't know. I don't even know if I'm capable of witnessing a group, but I should be, right? A group of people. But I witnessed to see. I was focused on her to see if she was getting rid of it, because she was the person who I could see it tested. And then I have a sense of whether it's gone. But we retest anyway. If it's not gone, then we dig. It's what I call digging, because there's something else that's holding this in place. It could be Hungary. Or who's hungry? It could be some experience in Hungary that's holding that in place that we just need to clear first. And that's kind of my skill. Spelling isn't my skill. I did it's graduate but I got 100% on the graduate exam to get into grad school on analytical. So I can see patterns. And this is where I see patterns. It's like, okay, well, if you have that happening in your life, you've got this belief underneath it. There's no way you could see that unless you have this belief. So, and a lot of you guys came up with a lot. I didn't have to do any work here. So let's do some more. So let's do. I have to earn money.
I have to earn money.
So maybe you guys are all ready, but if you're not, you might want to take a second to get in. And sometimes if you're not feeling like, you can check your yes and your no, or your male and your female. But so I have to earn money.
I have to earn money.
Are you getting? We were doing this. Are you getting a yes or no?
I'm getting a no.
You're getting a no, and check. I'm female, or whatever. I'm male. Whatever you want to be today.
I'm female? Yeah, I'm getting a no on that. So
Okay,
I don't know.
so say I'm male and see what happens with that one.
Okay, I'm male. Yeah, I'm kind of going backwards.
So you're getting everything. So maybe you're not testing right.
Okay.
So it could be a little, there's some things that do that.
Okay.
You could also turn around. Let's just have you face this way.
Okay.
Which is the easiest way to correct the pendulum.
Okay.
And then say I have to earn money.
I have to earn money.
I have to earn money.
You're still getting it.
I'm still getting a no.
Yeah.
But isn't that what you want? Is it not?
That was her concern.
Yeah.
So say
I kind of think all of these things should be yes.
So say I'm Bob.
Okay. I am Bob.
Close your eyes.
Okay. I am Bob. I
And
feel
then
like I'm going back.
Okay, and then I'm female.
Okay. I am female. I feel like I'm going forward. on
Okay,
that
so
one.
that's a little bit.
Yeah.
So they might not. We might not have. So I'm able to play the money-making game. everybody can test that. I'm able to
Okay.
play
I'm
the
able
money
to
making
play the
game.
money making
Play the
game.
money, play the money
I'm
making
able to
game.
play the money making game. That's coming up as a no.
Okay.
I mean, I don't really feel that much of the difference sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you don't. You're actually not moving, but you can kind of feel it. It's something you can develop as well. So that's
Yeah.
why it's like with a group like this. Sometimes I figure if I can get 2/3 of the people that are testing well, we're doing really great.
Yeah.
So otherwise, then it's more on the. That's how we can really access the subconscious, but we can do a lot of work without accessing it too. So it's just So yeah.
Quick question. Sometimes with intuitive work like this, I find my conscious mind wants to like co-opt the answer and it gets in the way. So if it
Yeah.
happens like really fast, I can get an authentic reaction. But
Yeah.
if there's any wiggle room, I'll
Yeah.
co-opt it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to struggle.
Now
with
that
the
you
dollar.
know.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah,
going to
it's
change
way-
it so that can loosen up.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
you want to have things so we can just change it, right?
Yeah.
And then the question is whether you're really. So what I ask people a lot is like what I'll do with a session or something is I'll work on a scenario. So we'll imagine a scenario where you're 60 years old. Do you feel like you have enough money? Are you real? So if you're feeling insecure about retirement or and then so before you're going to have. So imagine a certain scenario where like this like if we're going to work with you, we're going to say okay. You're saying you can feel like you go out into that room or you're in this room and
Yeah.
let's say you're going to do a little sales presentation
Sure.
and we're all if you're feeling us doing this,
Yeah.
right? So or however you're feeling, if we change that belief,
Yeah.
then you would all of a sudden, wow, people are really. You'd be able to in your mind,
Yeah,
you wouldn't
yeah,
be
yeah.
able to imagine them pulling away from you.
Yeah.
You would naturally like, I can, I can. People are pulling. Yeah, they're interested. You kind of like can get it that way without actually having to do. So it's really. I mean, you want to know. You consciously, you want these things to change, but in this scenario, you want to find out. It's different. You start thinking, I want to find out where the problem is. So when you change something, what I'll usually do, like we change this one, I have to struggle for every dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll ask you, does that feel like true still? And I'll say, what's left? And we'll look for, what's left. When you look at your work, there's still going to be something until we get to a place where it feels like, no, I'm like empowered and I can, go out and do anything. So would you all like to know how to play the money-making game?
I'd like to
Yes.
do it successfully.
And successfully and with fun and ease. So this is what I call a download. So basically I'm going to command that you guys all know that. And it's a demand and then you'll have it, you'll just have it. And you'll be working from a different place because you'll know how to do that. So I'm going to go into my little space. You can do whatever you want. Okay. So I'm able to play the money-making game. And did we test it already?
No.
You can test it while I'm changing it. Oh, maybe I should wait.
I'm
able to play the money-making game.
Wow, I'm like totally forward right now.
So it's called making a demand also. So you can kind of, you're demanding these things and there's nothing in the way of it. And in this case, it's like you know how to do it. So it's
So
a
you
different,
drop the negative and make it positive.
I'm able to play the money
Yeah,
making
she said
game.
she wasn't
Yeah.
able to play.
Yeah,
I'm
I try
able
to,
to
yeah,
positive
it's a
like that.
hypnosis thing.
No, I like
Usually
it.
you do everything. Like I would test this belief.
Yes.
I don't want to confuse the subconscious. I would test
Right.
I'm good enough.
Very good.
So let me see.
Hmm.
I want to do some stuff for people. I don't know. What would you? Okay, so we got this. We got this one done. At least for some of us. So let's test. I'm financially secure.
I am financially secure.
I'm financially secure.
Financially secure.
I'm going back.
Okay, so would you like to change that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you like to know how to live life from being financially secure? What that feels like, how to do it?
Yes.
Yes. I would like to live life being financially secure.
So let's test, I'm financially secure.
I am
Financially secure.
Can I throw it in?
Yeah, you
Yes, yes, they want to give you money. Yes, they want to give me money.
So that goes back to, okay, so.
I mean, it's kind of the same, but
So when I look at thinking the external world, we don't care, because if we want to be attractive or something, I try to think it's not about them wanting to or not to. They're just, it's going to happen, right? So I think a more fundamental belief. Let's check. I'm good enough. That's a more fundamental. Might change more things. So say I'm good enough.
I'm good enough.
How about I deserve money?
I
deserve money.
And they're just doing great. So I'm going to change, for those people that want to, I'm going to change I'm good enough, if you got to know, and I deserve money if you got to know. Okay? Let's take care of those. Would you like to know how, through all that is, through the kind of the totality, how you're good enough?
I would like to know how I'm good enough.
There you go. So let's test that. I'm good enough.
I am good enough.
And then I deserve money.
I deserve money.
Anyway, so that's like a little taste of the process.
Very cool.
So it's kind of cool. So
What if
yeah,
you
my-
stay straight up and you don't go forward or backwards? Is that possible?
it's possible. It's like there's
Some struggle there?
there's also like sometimes I'll ask it like all parts of me know I'm good enough or something like that, because there could be like a part that's, it's like the gray area, or you're not sure, or sometimes I test you guys too soon after I've changed it, and like some people are like, wait, it's going to take me longer to the neurons to whatever they do, so there can be that delay.
I felt that way with the last one, but partly just because I'm like, what does that actually mean? And to me, like, it's
And
not
I
something
should
I've
be
really
able. I
thought
should be
about.
able to
Yeah.
put gibberish up here.
Yeah.
And your subconscious
Yeah.
will know. I mean,
Yeah.
I should be able to put it in Greek, and you should be able to test anyway. But but there could be the conscious mind, like he was saying that, because we kind of like, oh wait, I'm kind of, the conscious mind can maybe, it's in art, not like science, I guess. But so the going away, there's certain kind of mistakes that people kind of make about change and about money, and one of them is conclusions, right? So whenever you hear yourself making a conclusion, like I repel people or I'm responsible, you can change that thought in such a way to create an expansion in your life, which is by asking a question. So whatever you say, if you're still coming up with something, you can just say, okay, what else is possible? And that'll start, the subconscious mind will start chewing on that, and they'll come up with all these other options. So the idea, I have to save for retirement, is a conclusion. And we all know, if you can prove once that it's not true, right? And so some people don't save for retirement and it's fine. Other people don't save for retirement, it's not. But it could be something else they're choosing or limiting, right? About receiving, right? It's like, what if I become retired and people just want to give me money because they like me? Yeah, what's wrong with that? So it's like, whenever we start having a conclusion, which is what in our society we like to do, we become more limited. So that's one of the things. So that's like following our head instead of following the energy. So that's a big kind of a mistake that people can make, in the sense that we start thinking about it, or we override. It doesn't make sense to do that. It doesn't make sense to do that. That can't possibly work, right? And it's like, but I got this energy to go do this.
Could it also be the fact that if we believe a lie long enough, if we repeat a lie long enough, we believe it and act on it about ourselves?
Well, yeah, we believe, well, yeah, we've been telling ourselves a lie long enough, we believe it, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can do it the opposite way, where we can tell ourselves a different lie long enough, and then all of a sudden we're rich. I teach this thing I do, in a weekend workshop, and I've got one coming up in January.